Is there any other genre that lets you do as much stuff as the RPG? These games let you dive headfirst into a fantasy world and become someone else entirely. Admittedly, that someone else tends to enjoy slicing up rats and running through the countryside for hours on end. But still, it's pretty cool. And there are a whole bunch of excellent ones available for the iPhone and the iPad. So, here are 25 of the best. An action RPG of the highest order, Wayward Souls mixes tactile combat with lively physics, randomized dungeons, and bucket loads of secrets. It's not for the faint-hearted, but it is excellent. Yes, you too can be an actual Jedi Knight, shaping your power setup, choosing your lightsabers, and deciding whether to pursue the light side or the dark. This forerunner to the Mass Effect series is a contender for the best RPG ever, and actually works really, really well on iPhone and iPad. Bored of the usual sub-Tolkien and JRPG steampunk settings? Well, you should check out the Banner Saga and its beautifully downbeat, icy cold Nordic universe. The combat's a little tricksy, but the story should keep you gripped to the end. It isn't as highly lauded as Final Fantasy VII, but we're going to be controversial and say that Final Fantasy IX is the better JRPG to play here and now in 2016 on your iOS device. Square actually bothered to tweak the controls for iOS with this one, and it really, really pays off. This one might be tricky to get hold of unless you've already bought it. It was plagued with issues on iOS when originally launched, and it's been on and off the App Store for years now. But if you're able to get your hands on it, The World Ends With You Solo Remix is a truly unique RPG in which wearing uncool clothes slashes your damage bonuses. What more do you need? Go check it out. Step into the metal boots of a massive mech and lead the Templars to victory. We call Templar Battleforce a top quality blend of tactics and role-playing with enough customization options for enormous replay value. If that's not a recommendation, I don't know what is. Though it can be a little underwhelming at the start, Crashlands develops into a very funny survival adventure through a hostile alien world. Think Don't Starve, but with primary colours and a little bit more electronics. Well worth a look.
You'll have time to give her a call.
Again, it may be tricky to get hold of since Square Enix keeps pulling these things from the App Store, but if you like Final Fantasy, you should love the Chaos Rings saga. Chaos Rings 2 picks up exactly where Chaos Rings and Omega left off, which is right at the point the Earth's about to get completely annihilated. Guess who's gonna have to step up and save the day? With its first game, Supergiant Games took the mechanics of a decent hack-and-slash RPG and layered on a beautiful hand-painted world. But the clincher is Bastion's gravelly voiced narrator, pushing you onwards throughout. A real gem if you've yet to discover it.
And together.
You'll probably die quite a lot in Dungeon of the Endless, but it's a fun and fresh mix of action, roguelike, and resource management sim genres. Plus, it looks awesome, just check out those visuals, go give it a try. 5-card quest! It's a quest! With 5 cards! What more do you need to know? Well, it's kind of a turn-based RPG, CCG, roguelike, if you can pick your way through those initials, and it's really good, which shouldn't come as a surprise from the guys who brought you Wayward Souls. Despite a mountainous learning curve, Harebrained Scheme's cyber fantasy builds a believable world crammed with grimy details. It's a sequel to Shadowrun Returns and delivers 20 hours of unflinching violence and old-school storytelling. Third in the Dungelot series, the attractive Shattered Lands is an epic roguelike adventure where you hunt for keys in a randomly generated top-down dungeon. Though it might look like a glorified Minesweeper, there's plenty of leveling and customization to be done here. With its Finnish fairy tale stylings and frantic approach to combat, Sproggywood is a cheerful alternative to standard roguelike crawlers. Abilities are unlocked as you progress, and gold can be spent on buildings to open up new characters at your base. Plus, look at the cute little characters, isn't he cute? Oh. Desktop Dungeons is all about offering a roguelike experience that you can tackle in about 10 minutes. These tile-based dungeons are tiny, and everything in the game is fast-paced and streamlined. Probably not best to make this your first roguelike RPG experience, but if you're a fan of the genre, there's lots on offer here. Speaking of roguelike dungeon crawlers, Nitrome tweaks the formula to great effect with Rust Bucket. You play as a helmet, roaming a dungeon full of creatures and traps in a pattern that feels like a sliding block puzzle. It's cute and funny and fun, but hard as nails. Monster Hunter Freedom Unite on iOS is a port of the very same game you obsessed over on PSP back in 2008. All of the monster battling, OCD-inducing crafting, and zaniness is present here, just with some slightly different controls. Potentially hundreds of hours of gameplay in this one. It's a cracker. A mobile port of the Nintendo DS version of the game, Dragon Quest V has made the transition to mobile incredibly well. It adds a touchscreen interface and sharpens up the visuals, but maintains everything that you love about the original. One for fans and newcomers alike. Is it a roguelike? Is it a dungeon crawler? You can't see, but I'm sort of wobbling my hand a bit between the... It's a bit of both, basically, but in the best way possible. Hoplite lacks longevity, but it's an absolute riot while it lasts. Don't be put off by the visuals, give this one a try. Well, it wouldn't be an RPG list without it. Final Fantasy VII is the best RPG ever to 30-somethings with rose-tinted glasses. But there's no doubting the game's epic ambition, nor Square Enix's superb world building. We'd have loved a slightly better port for mobile, but come on, it's Final Fantasy VII. We'll take what we can get. Supergiant followed up the acclaimed Bastion with another solid RPG in Transistor, though this one favours strategy over the brute force of its predecessor. With a gorgeous art style, innovative combat system, and a returning role for the hit voice actor Logan Cunningham, Transistor's well worth your time. Knights of Pen and Paper 2 is one of the best ways to experience role-playing classics like Dungeons & Dragons on your mobile. It doesn't take itself at all seriously, but it evokes memories of sitting at a table with a bunch of other adventurers in the middle of the night, chucking dice and necking Lucasade like there's no tomorrow.
Every year.
If you like RPGs turn-based and slightly off-kilter, Costume Quest is the one for you. And because it's Double Fine, there's a fun story and a good chunk of adventure game thrown in for good measure. There are loads of RPGs on the App Store, but there are a few with as much heart and ingenuity as Attack the Light. The swipe-based movement is tactile, and the turn-based combat is surprisingly deep, making this a rich and entertaining RPG with a lot to offer. Despite its age and comparative simplicity, The Lords of Midnight is ideally suited to a mobile device. A legitimate, timeless classic, it's lost none of its ability to captivate and entertain, and serves as a fitting tribute to Mike Singleton's genius. Fans of the genre owe it to themselves to check this one out. Those are some of our favourites, but we know there's plenty more out there. Sling yours in the comment section below, and remember to subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.